So 10 years from now, okay, like we know, for example, we will be making an artificial arm, series of artificial arms for people as well as legs. Like we've already got line of sight to designing a leg, so we know we're going to be doing that. Okay, so then what other parts of the body could you easily, relatively easily port these concepts over to? These concepts being like the robotics and the neural interface and all that. Okay, spines? Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was funny actually, a spine surgeon who found out about us. Actually, one of the first things he ever did when he started working with us is he emailed me. He's like, "Hey, you need to make spines." And I was like,
Really?
I don't know if we should make spines." Like that's pretty big deal. And he's like, "No, you don't understand. Like this actually makes a lot of sense because it's something that you pose." And it uses the nervous system. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, he might actually be onto something. Now, the level of risk with that is high. I think literally what I'm describing is an artificial spine, part and all of an artificial spine. Because at the end of the day, I mean, it's just, your spine is basically a big nerve that runs in the middle of it that spiders out into real nerves. So 10 years, call it, a handful of artificial limbs. And I see other companies out there working on other things, like artificial eyes. Now, I don't know if that means they're bionic, or if they're just kind of more like something you put on your eye. I think what we're interested in is like taking, like true replacements. 20 years, I think you should definitely expect to see like serious restoration of people who have serious complex impairment. Kind of the most extreme cases, electively replacing. We have, I think, like maybe 500 or 1,000 people on our wait list who said that they want to electively replace their limb because it's useless, basically. It's like people who had like their arms smashed, but they couldn't get it amputated. They kind of salvaged it, but it's just non-functional. Or, things like all the brain implant companies, the brain computer interface companies that are going on right now. Definitely makes sense to put a shunt in and wirelessly send signals from your brain over to the limb because the nerve itself is the problem there, right? You can't get the signal through the nerve. 50 years from now, 100 years from now, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't effectively be able to replace the major parts of your body at least. That gets into a different question though, which is like, okay, how much do you really need to replace of the body if you wanted a fully artificial body? And to be clear, I'm not talking about like, people who just electively replace. Again, still people who need to replace probably their whole body for some series of reasons. And do you actually need a respiratory system and a digestive system if you start kind of replacing lots of parts of your body? These things, grew over millions of years of evolution, and they're very needed for us in meat-based bodies. But, I think it's going to look very different than people expect. I would definitely think that the future is going to look a lot weirder than people would think, like in a heartwarming way, but it's definitely going to feel a little weird at first. Yeah.